still gonna stop.
I'm working on something.
Alright, Iron Man 1. So yeah, this film came out in 2008. I believe Disney didn't have the rights to Iron Man just yet. Paramount was starting to slate off. Starting with, I would say, a C-level character when it came to the Marvel Universe. I'll start with this, actually. When it came overall with the Avengers, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Avengers growing up. I mean, I've read about them, I know who they are, but they're not my favorite characters. I grew up with Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four. I knew about the Hulk because he's so big of a household name at that point. But yeah, those were my main three. So Avengers wasn't really something I got into. I knew about Iron Man I watched him on the TV shows like Spider-Man, the old Spider-Man TV show, and he would make appearances on the Fantastic Four show and stuff like that. But other than that, I couldn't really get into him. So when I heard they were going to start this universe with Iron Man, I was like, man, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, guys. It's like, what are you going to do with this? People even going to come see this? Because, like, nobody really knows who Iron Man is. Robert Downey Jr., nobody was really caring about him at the time. But, to my surprise, I remember seeing this in the theater, and, man, was I blown away. This movie was amazing. Robert Downey Jr. was the perfect casting for Tony Stark. I had all my doubts with this film going in, though I was hoping it would at least be okay. It was more than okay. It was such a good time. So we're just going to start with the stuff that we did like about it, stuff we didn't like about it. We're going to talk about some nerdy, geeky Easter eggs and all that stuff. So we're going to start off with Dr. Nick. What did you think about Iron Man 2008?
Well, going before Iron Man came out, I did know about Iron Man. I didn't really read much of his comic books. I did know of him from his animated cartoon and appearances in the Incredible Hulk's cartoon. But
yeah, I forgot about his TV show I saw also.
But I didn't really know. He wasn't like a household name. But then once they said, hey, we're going to be making a movie about Iron Man, I was like, really? Well, I hope it's good, because my God, it was 10 years ago. I was like 12 around that time. But find out they're making an Iron movie, and then the trailers came out, and it was like, wow, this looks actually pretty good. And now, mind you, this was still the 2000s, so we were still in the dark clothes, broody era.
The Daredevils and
we were still getting out of that. So this, had humor. Didn't seem like it was broody. And then movie comes out. It's great. Like, it's a great movie. You don't even have to be a big superhero aficionado, and it still is a great movie for anyone to watch. And really, this saved Robert Downey Jr.'s career, because he was kind of in a downward spiral. He was slowly coming up, but this really saved his career, and it's just an entertaining movie from top to bottom.
Captain Eagle, what did you think about Iron Man?
I really like this movie. This is still one of my favorite movies in the franchise. When this came out, I didn't really know anything about Iron Man other than he was a cool guy in a suit. Because I had seen Iron Man in some old Marvel video game that I had played, and he used to play something called Marvel Battle Dice. And he was a character I had in that. That was a really fun game that died out quick. But, so I was familiar with Marvel characters, but I didn't know anything about them. So I was like, okay, I'll watch this, because I don't read the comics. So I just go in, into the movie and just take it for what it is. And I as well was really surprised. I didn't really have any sort of expectations for it. And yeah, Robert Downey Jr. was a really cool, likable guy, I thought just his whole upcoming of him becoming Iron Man was really great. It was just a really entertaining movie, and it got me interested to see more.
All right. So, yeah, when we talk about what really worked about this film, we keep saying Robert Downey Jr., Robert Downey Jr. Going in, I wasn't even a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan. I hadn't really watched his films, but it's like after this, it just blows my mind how much he is Tony Stark. If he didn't work, the movie wouldn't work. And he definitely worked. It's just, he captures that. He captures that good mix of being, the playboy and, being kind of a, stuck up, but at the same time he has a heart of gold. It's like he found a great way to mix those two. And plus, I love this chemistry that he had with Pepper Potts. Like those two together, I think they're amazing. The way they change dialogue with each other, the way they that Pepper Potts pretty much knows, Tony. It's like he helps him organize everything that he does. Pretty much, they're both, two peas in the pot, I would say. What else did we like about it? Obadiah Stane. I wanted to talk about the villain because I want to jump to the villain. Obadiah Stane. I actually thought I really liked him as a character. We'll talk about Ironmonger later, but also, he's another person that was really good. It's because you could tell the history that he had with Tony.
Oh, yeah.
And also, because he used to work with his father, Howard Stark, and pretty much trying to help Tony, build his legacy and stuff like that. So as far as, I could buy him as a friend of Tony. He wasn't just the mustache twirling villain up until a point. Like I said, we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's just...
Well, that and Jeff Bridges will always give a solid performance.
Jeff Bridges always did a solid performance. It's like you can never really, you can always count on him to, put his all in it. Rhodey.
Oh yeah, I literally rewatched the movie before this podcast, and I forgot about Rhodey too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like best friend of Tony. It's like he was really good, even though he wasn't. The actor who played Rhodey in this movie didn't get to play him in the future films, but
Terrence Howard.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked him. I actually wish we could have seen him be Rhodey in future installments, because a lot of times Don Cheadle's Rhodey comes off as kind of cold, and I don't know, I just felt like there was more of a friendship, between Terrence Howard's version of the character.
I definitely see what you mean. I still felt a little bit of coldness from Terrence, a little bit. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Don Cheadle had a little bit more, but it's I think that's kind of part of his character, because Tony can slack off quite a bit, and it's he just doesn't take everything as seriously as he should. So I feel like Rhodey is his good companion to be to make sure that he's in check, So I wasn't really bothered by Cheeto's coldness, but yeah, Terrence, I did wish he had more of a chance to play Rhodey in future films because he was really good. I know a lot of people just forgot about him because he got recast. The same thing with Edward Norton with the Hulk, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I thought Terrence Howard was really good. I have to say, like the overall opening in the desert when he gets captured by terrorists, that was done very, very well. People forget, like, before they Disney started sugaring things up, it's like, dude, the Phase 1 movies are pretty dark. And like this scene in particular like was a testament to that. It's like they found a good balance between humor and the dark and serious, because like, dude, Tony gets blown up, his chest gets blown up, and there's freaking shrapnel in his freaking heart that's about to kill. That's like, I don't know how dark, I don't know, that's as dark as you can get. And it's like they didn't sugarcoat it at all. It's like, this is some heavy stuff. But it didn't feel jarring at all. If anything, it helped with with the overall stakes of the situation. I thought the leader of the what was the name of the terrorist organization? The 12 Rings, I think. Yeah, the bald guy. Yeah, I thought he was a very menacing villain, even though he didn't have a lot of screen time. I thought he was done very well as overall terrorist. I don't expect a lot of development when it came to him, but it's like he served his purpose. But overall, I think the best thing about this film is like how resourceful Tony is. Like, he's always a step ahead of everyone else. Even when it seems like he's slacking off and like not taking things seriously, he always knows what you're about to do before you even do it. And when he's trying to create his suit in the cave and all that stuff, I thought that was just great. Like, he is so resourceful. Like Obadiah says, Tony Stark's able to build this stuff in a cave with a bunch of scraps.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. That was really cool because I didn't know, the Iron Man origin story. So seeing him, like get blown up by this bomb and be captured by terrorists, and to see him like at this low point was like really surprising for me. Going into this.
Yeah, and he single-handedly was able to create the arc reactor that was preventing the shrapnel from going in his chest. It's like, dude, it's like, this guy is OP, man, for sure. He's the best. And his whole sequence with the Mark 1 armor, like, that was amazing. The way that the director, what's the director's name?
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Yes, Jon Favreau.
Happy Hogan.
Yeah, he was Happy Hogan in this movie. He was only had like 2 scenes in here, but he'll have more of a role in like 2 and 3. But yeah, just Jon Favreau, I thought, did an excellent job with the action sequences. I think the last thing action-wise that he did was Zathura, or was it Cowboys and Aliens? Or I think that came out a year after. But like, yeah, the way he handled action in this movie was really good. He was able to mix the CGI and the practical effects very well, which I feel like future installments in the MCU are kind of lacking now. But it's like he found a good balance, and because this is not really a genre that he does a lot, and he just came here and made it look seamless for that opening sequence when he's escaping from the 12 Rings, and when Iron Man was like flying for the first time in his Mark II, and his overall fight with Obadiah, Ironmonger, that was handled pretty well. It's just like, it was amazing. I would say the editing in this film is top notch. It's like, there's not an ounce of fat in this film. Everything is going by at this terrific pace. The humor is calculated perfectly. Just so much good that they did with the film. Let's talk about the suit real quick. The suit is beautiful.
Yeah,
there's a reason why everyone uses the MCU Iron Man look.
Yes, cause that was it just looks so slick because going off of the TV shows like the old cartoons, it's like I always thought the suit looked kind of corny. It just and kind of clunky.
Yeah.
The physics was just all over the place. I'm just like, how's the suit doing all this stuff? But in this movie, it made it seem plausible, actually. Even though technically it probably isn't possible, but it made it seem like it is. It's like a good sense of, the film being grounded but at the same time having the whimsical stuff being in there, in the right places. It's like it didn't take me out the stuff that the suit was doing. I was like, yeah, I can buy it. I can buy like freaking lasers coming out of this suit. I can buy it flying and outrunning these jets. Dude, the jet sequence is great too, man. That was amazing.
Like every action sequence, like when he went back to Afghanistan, was it to like.
Yeah,
because his missiles were stolen. He just went down there.
Mm-hmm.
The tank shot him down, and they just shot like a tiny little missile at it, and it blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's just so many great parts. Like when he does the target lock, because the terrorists have the civilians captured, but he's able to like kill all the terrorists. At one time. I don't know, all the action in this movie is just really great.
Oh, and let's not fluff over the fact that Iron Man does kill people.
Yes, he kills people.
There is actual.
So for people that are complaining about other comic book properties we're not going to name right now that are killing people, like, dude, the Iron Man is murking people. It's like there's
Batman.
Let's talk about that.
This is more Paul kids.
It's just a Logan Man. That's what it is.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, it was just it's amazing how he was able to, even like before he even gets in the action stuff, when he's just testing out his suit in his garage. Even that was entertaining. It's like, it's very fascinating how he's putting the suits together and like what every crick and cranny that goes into them. And I also have to say, those freaking those like robotic hands that he has that keeps goofing off. That was funny. I thought it was going to be stupid, but I was like, no, they were actually entertaining. I was like, I wish they were still here now. But yeah, just like just little bits that help the scene, make the scene better. The grain, like just messing up, being like, if you gas me again, I'm going to donate you to a community college. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And something else I think brought that scene up is I really liked Jarvis.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He was just a computer, but he was, just an entertaining, just helper supercomputer, there with Tony to figure everything out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jarvis was really, really good. The second coming of Alfred, in my opinion. No, not gonna talk about the other comic book property. But anyway, Jarvis was great. He, like you said, didn't have a physical appearance at all, but you could tell he has a lot of personality.
Which is funny because Paul Bettany said he's pretty much recorded all his lines in about an hour, and then went home and went on vacation with his family.
And it made it seem like Paul Bettany was like recording his stuff like on set. Yeah, it's like that's how good it was. I'm just very astounded. Dude, the overall the way that they used the holograms and the hubs, that was really cool. A lot of detail when he's just like checking stuff on his computer and the holograms just popping up in front of him. That's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I think that's just going to be the main tagline for this review. It's cool. This movie's just so goddamn cool, man. I think what makes this movie stand out even to this day is like, I'm going to go back to, Robert Downey's performance as Iron Man, because like I said, it's like, because with future installments, what I felt like they were lacking is like the heart of gold that Tony has. And Tony definitely has that heart of gold in this movie. Because, at first he is the douche, he's an asshole, he's the stuck-up playboy. But I felt like he really developed himself as a character as the movie progressed. Because once he figures out, like, all the stuff that, his weapons are causing, death and all that, he wants to take responsibility for that. Protect the ones that he cares for. And I just felt like that overall message, helped me to...
There's a Spider-Man quote that will go along with that.
I wonder what that could be. And then with great power comes great responsibility. Of course, yes. Yes. I think this fits here. It's like, this is why I say this is my favorite Tony Stark performance in the entire cinematic universe so far. Still, this first movie, because while he is that playboy, he still he still is a very likable character, and you still feel like he's caring and sympathetic towards situations and all that.
And he wants to do the right thing.
He
doesn't
do the right
want
thing.
bad things to happen. He feels guilty when, the terrorists are using his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, this is wrong. That's not what I made these weapons for.
Like, so he stops being selfish for once and thinks about other people. That's what I loved about it, for sure. So, yeah, we've been gushing about this film for a while, but I'm sure we have like a couple issues with it. I don't have a lot of issues, I'll be honest with you.
There is a
Not
cushion
really.
for his butt.
Yes, but yeah, it's like, is there anything that we thought could have been better or improved? Ironmonger. Let's just talk about Ironmonger. As I said, I thought Obadiah Stane worked to an extent. Like I said, I bought him as the old friend of Howard's and, being a mentor to Tony. I thought that whole thing worked. Even when he, you find out that he's the mastermind, with selling Tony's weapons and stuff like that. Outsmarting the 12 rings. Even I thought that was cool. He very clever. But when he puts on that suit, he just turns into a completely different person. He turns into the mustache twirling, I'm going to kill everything and destroy everything. No. I'm sorry. It's just, he had me, but then it's like the film had to stop and be like, wait, we're a superhero film. We need to have a giant climactic battle with two Iron Mans, fighting. So that's pretty much what that was. I'm not saying that I wasn't entertained by the fight with Iron Man and Ironmonger, because it was a cool fight scene, but it made the movie feel a bit lopsided when it got to that point, because you felt up until that point the movie was very paced, everything felt grounded, but and everything had a logical standpoint. But when it got to Ironmonger, that's when it started turning into a straight up comic book film, and it just, I don't know how I feel. But what you guys feel about Ironmonger?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Honestly, until I rewatched it, I forgot about Ironmonger, and then I was like, oh yeah, this was at the end, because it is a little disappointing once you have this sort of Lex Luthor-y type of villain just goes on and puts a power armor on. It's like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is honestly pretty forgettable in my opinion, even though the sequence is a great sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little disappointing once he has to go back to being pretty much a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys liked him when he was just more like brains?
Yeah, when he was more brains, because I thought when he was just being the corrupted businessman and like pulling strings, because I thought his overall plan was actually kind of clever, like making a deal with the 12 rings to get the technology for his own benefit. That was actually, I'm buying what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But what makes the Ironmonger thing stand out so much is the fact that he, while he's manipulating these plans to go forward, nothing in his plan said that he wanted to put innocent people in danger. Mm-hmm. And not put on a giant mech suit where you're putting yourself out in the open. It's like, it just doesn't make sense, because this whole time he's trying to make his plan all secrecy and stuff like that. And when you create this giant suit and just throwing cars everywhere, you're exposing yourself pretty much. And that's his whole plan up to the point was not to get exposed. And so
it's like he's trying to get away with his plan, but he's like clearly making himself a criminal by doing that. And so I see what you guys are saying, because I enjoyed him as Ironmonger. I was like, oh yeah, it's a cool sequence. The big suit was cool. It was nice to see them fight. But I see what you say about how it kind of changes his character, because I liked him as a character. He was interesting, but I haven't read the comics, but I knew that there was, something fishy up with him. Mm-hmm. I got a villain vibe from him early on in the movie. Maybe it's just his glare that he has.
It's just his glare, his demeanor. You're like, I could tell really early, like, he's going to be the villain. It's like, but...
Even though he was, like, caring and supportive of Tony early on, it's like, something's off.
Something's off, yes. But yeah, so then I can't think of anything else really I had an issue with this film. The movie's that damn good. It's like that's really the only thing about it that I'm like, that could have been better. But even then, it doesn't ruin the film. It's still entertaining sequence. It's just like that could have been just handled better. But other than that, this was just.
It's like nitpicks. I can't even
Really think of
anything
nitpicks, but I think
big.
general consensus is we pretty much think this is a great movie.
This is a great film. This is yes, an awesome starting off point. I think the only thing left for us to talk about with this movie is the end credit scene.
Oh yes,
the end credit scene, man. I was the idiot who didn't stay for the credits.
Really?
Yeah, I had to learn about it later online. I'm like, oh my god, why didn't I stay till the credits? Yes, we're talking about when Tony Stark comes back home and he's like, wait, why is the security all messed up? And then, off in the distance at the other side, standing by the window is this dark figure saying, you think you're the only superhero in the world? You're part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
And reveal Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. And telling Tony, I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. When I saw that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. The Avengers... You're teasing the Avengers? Come on, guys. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's a cool, nice little tease there, but we all know that that's not going to happen. No, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, but little did I know.
And little did we know.
But yeah, I thought that was a nice stinger at the end. Very nice. Samuel Jackson, perfect person I would cast for Nick Fury. They're going, based on the ultimate Nick Fury, so it's not going to be the...
classic
the classic
616.
Right. David Hasselhoff.
I forgot there was a Nick Fury movie with the Hoff as.
Oh Jesus
Fury.
Christ,
Oh, God.
that was really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun fact: the ultimate version of Nick Fury was based on Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep, it's true. They were pretty much what it was is they didn't ask him. They just went Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, and he was in a comic. He got the comic. And he read it, and he was like, "That looks just like me." And they were scared he was going to get mad, you can't use my likeness or anything. He loved it. He's actually I think people nowadays know, but Samuel Jackson is actually a pretty big nerd. He's actually a pretty big nerd. He actually has written comics. He was in another, I believe, prior to this or after this, he was in. God, what was it? Unbreakable? Bruce Willis.
That came out before.
Yeah, he was in Unbreakable, Hugh Glass, which now they're making a sequel. They're going to make a sequel to.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually a pretty big nerd, so it's nice.
Nice there. Because he lives I'm going to be Nick Fury, right?
Yeah.
You're going to cast me Nick Fury? And yes, they did. Very. So, yeah, that's our overall thoughts of Iron Man. So, we're going to give a grade to it. So, we're going to start with Captain Eagle. What do you give
Iron
Iron
Man? I just
Man?
wanted to say a little bit about the
go ahead.
post-credits first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you thought it was kind of like a joke, kind of crazy for the franchise? For them to try and do a franchise?
Yeah, at that point when I saw that, I'm like, because let's think about it, because this tells how far we've come when it came to comic book films today. That end credit scenes became a regular thing, but before before Iron Man came out, man, people just leave stingers in the back just to be like, hey, that's a nice little nod there. But people weren't that ambitious to be like, hey, that's actually a setup for a bigger universe, So, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, man, that's actually really cool. But that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
no.
this is the first of its kind, really, with building a big cinematic universe. But I guess I did have faith in it. I took it straight. I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing this, because I knew about the Avengers, and immediately when he turned around, I knew that was Nick Fury because I had played the I think it was Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Video
I love Marvel.
So that's how I knew about a lot of the characters, including Iron Man. But it was by luck that I saw that scene, because the only post credit scenes I had seen at that point were the Pirates of the Caribbean. movies. They all have post credits.
Oh yeah.
So I just by chance I always watch the credits. So I watched this on DVD. I didn't see it in the theaters. And then I got to the end. I was like, oh my gosh, there's another scene, and yeah, it was like crazy, and that got me super excited to see other ones. So great start to the franchise. I give it an A.
Yep. Dr. Nick, what do you give Iron Man? Your ending thoughts and then grade.
Ending thoughts. It's still very entertaining movie. Amazingly that it took 17 years to actually get this film off the ground. They planned this all the way since 1990 to get this movie. Originally it was going to be Universal Studios to get this. And you can tell that they wanted to get this off the ground, and it shows. So I have to give it a solid A. Solid A. Great time. I think everyone can agree this is a great start to this universe.
This is still remains to be one of my favorite films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie did so much, to kick off a franchise, but it's not even just a good kickoff start. It's just a great film overall, and it made me more of a fan of Iron Man than I was before.
I think everyone after this became like, wow, Iron Man's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, he's become a household name at this point. And it's thanks to Robert Downey Jr., thanks to Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper. I can't emphasize enough that, the chemistry between those two are really great. Just the way Jon Favreau directed this film, it's like you could tell he really loved the character and wanted to do the character justice. But yeah, just overall, it's just a fun time. Very, really solid film. I give it an A also. It's an A. Very great film.